If reminders are necessary, the system is missing something. If your work depends on reminders and follow-ups, something is wrong, not with the people, with the process. Execution should not rely on memory. It should not rely on chasing. It should not rely on someone asking twice. When reminders become normal, friction becomes invisible, and invisible friction is expensive. Start with follow-ups. A follow-up looks small. One message, one ping, one just checking in. But it rarely ends there. You have to remember to send it. You have to reopen the context. You have to think about what happened before. You have to wait for a reply. Then you switch back to what you were doing. That switch costs more than it seems. Like when a proposal sits in someone's inbox for 3 days and the only reason it moves is because you ping them again. Every follow-up creates a coordination tax. Time is lost. Focus is broken. Energy is spent on tracking, not producing. Now multiply that across a week. Multiple people, multiple tasks, multiple just checking. Progress slows even though everyone feels busy. The work is not moving forward. The coordination is. Follow-ups replace real output, and they create social friction. Chasing someone feels uncomfortable. Being chased feels annoying. Even when everyone is polite, tension builds. You start protecting yourself. You send extra messages just in case. You copy more people to stay safe. The system becomes defensive. All because execution depends on reminders. Now look at reminders. Reminders feel helpful. They feel responsible. They feel organized. But repeated reminders are often a symptom. If something needs reminding every time, the process is weak. Why was it forgotten? Why was it unclear? Why did it not trigger automatically? Reminders hide root problems. Unclear ownership is one of them. If it is not obvious who is responsible, nothing moves. People assume someone else is handling it. Or they wait. So you send a reminder. The reminder fixes the moment, but the ownership problem remains. Next week, the same thing happens. Another root problem is unclear next steps. If a task ends without a defined "what happens now," it stalls. People pause. They hesitate. They wait for instruction. So someone follows up. Again, the follow-up solves the symptom, but the structure is still broken. Missing triggers are another issue. If a step depends on someone remembering to act, it will fail under pressure. Busy days, unexpected events, competing priorities. Memory is unreliable in complex work. When reminders become normal, the system is asking humans to compensate for weak design. Some people say, this is just normal work. And yes, many workplaces operate this way. But normal does not mean efficient. It means common. Common systems often rely on people patching gaps manually. They rely on chasing. They rely on remembering. They rely on goodwill. That works at small scale. It fails at volume. As complexity grows, coordination tax grows faster than output. People feel overloaded. Not because the work is too hard, because too much energy goes into moving it along. Another belief is that reminders keep people accountable. In reality, reminders often reduce accountability. If everyone knows someone will follow up, urgency drops. Why act now if a reminder is coming? True accountability is built into the process. Clear ownership, clear deadlines, clear next actions. When those exist, reminders become rare. Not because people changed, because the system supports them. Follow-ups and reminders create a false sense of control. You feel proactive, you feel responsible, but you are reacting to gaps. Every reminder is a signal. Something was unclear. Something was fragile. Something depended on memory. Healthy systems do not need constant nudging. They define what happens next. They make ownership obvious. They trigger action without chasing. That does not eliminate communication. It reduces unnecessary coordination. Work should move because the process moves it, not because someone pushes it. When execution depends on reminders, stress increases. You carry open loops. You track who replied and who did not. You worry about what might slip. When execution depends on structure, stress decreases. You trust the flow. You know where things are. You stop scanning for what you forgot. Reminders aren't a productivity tool. They're a process alarm. If you see many of them, do not ask who needs to try harder. Ask what the process is missing. Because real progress happens when work moves forward on its own, not when someone has to chase.